Hi there. I wanted to take a few minutes to analyze and explain a poem that I wrote last month called Yard of the Month. And I think that the message was mostly lost on people, and they thought it was a poem about yard work. But it was about the struggle and the battle between human will and God's will, and how we don't want to see the truth of our actions and what we'll do to justify what we're doing when we see the harsh reality, and how uh, we want to keep doing what we want to do, even when God is suggesting that maybe we should be doing something else. And that's really what the poem is about. So I just thought I would kind of reread it and analyze it um, as I do. So it's called Yard of the Month. And it's called that because it's about how we do things because we want to be seen highly in the eyes of men, and maybe we all make our yards the same because we want to fit in, and maybe we'll even get a reward for that. And so the first few verses are about uh, my yard work and how that's my time to commune with God, and how pleased I am with what I see that God has done, and how pleased I am with myself in the process. On Sunday mornings, I like to attend church in my garden to listen to earth and God teach me their wisdom. The warm weather and wet ground of early spring have made me especially eager to clear away the unwanted grass and weeds in preparation for more beautiful things. A fan of hard labor, I use my hands to do the work in favor of unholy and destructive chemicals and pesticides. Today I toil in the front yard and enjoy the sounds of the neighborhood as I quietly dig and pull, serenaded by the twirling sound of a woodpecker, the parental calls of cardinals, some Hispanic music playing while a young man works on his truck, a young girl singing at the top of her lungs as she walks the nearby trail. You are the one I've been looking for, I hear as her voice fades off. My mind feels at peace, and thus far my work has been easy. I receive compliments and encouragement from occasional passers-by and wonder if a Yard of the Month award is in my future for my dutiful participation in the Good Fences and Yards Make Good Neighbors Club. So, the Good Fences Make Good Neighbors is a nod to Robert Frost's poem Mending Wall, where he is questioning the tradition of repairing a wall in between two pastures on an annual basis. And he questions the wisdom of it, but his neighbor only replies, good fences make good neighbors. And it's like, good yards make good neighbors. If we don't cut our grass, we might get shamed on, and we might be reported to the local HOA that we have weeds growing in our yard, so that is not okay. And I was very proud that I was doing this work with my own hands. But that also is part of the responsibility that I take in the poem about this is the work of my hands and not anybody else's. I'm not doing this by proxy. Everything that God is about to show me is what I'm doing myself. So then the tone changes as God shows me something that He wants to show me, because this is my church time, right? So I am open to God's wisdom and correction. And some people have said, now the earthworms, they probably were already dead, or you didn't kill them, but that's really not the point, because in my mind, I was killing the earthworms in the next section and killing the weeds. And I'm about to be shown that why am I deciding that what I want is better than what God has created and God has already put in the soil. So now, after enjoying what I'm seeing, a limp earthworm, the victim of my spade, briefly interrupts my tranquility. I quickly shake off the sight and continue steadfastly. With another section complete and the finish line nearing, I quicken my pace. I compassionately throw a second lifeless earthworm aside in hopes that the cardinal will find an easy meal for its baby. Oh, isn't that compassionate of me? The next weed innocently displays a perfect soul yellow blossom, and I briefly pause before ruthlessly pulling and tossing it aside. Another worm fails to escape my destruction, and I am forced to ask myself, why am I doing this? Why am I killing everything that God has put there? You know? But I have come too far now and to leave the job unfinished. I am making this area prettier, I justify to myself, looking at the sterile, empty patches I created and covered in colorless black mulch. So I'm trying to justify my actions to God. The pile of wilted green beside me continues to grow higher. The youngest plants sacrifice their lives easily, having no roots and being fresh from their mother's womb. It is almost painless for me too, because I cannot really even identify what they are. So that's a reference to abortion and how we will justify taking a newly born life or a life not quite born and toss it aside because it's not part of our plan for our life. It's really inconvenient and in the way, and how easily those lives just sacrifice their life. But then, and it's easy for me to do because I can't even tell that that is really a plant. I don't even know what kind it is, so it doesn't really look like anything. So I'll just toss it aside. But now I'm going to come upon some plants that are more mature and they are not as willing to give up their life. The final section is formidable, a patch of crabgrass that has taunted me for years. Even in the soft, moist dirt, it fights tenaciously for its right to survive. Its roots entrenched. I get the shovel. I am equally determined to extinguish this menace forever and horrified at my actions. After 13 dead earthworms, 2 barrels full of weeds, and an aching back, my spirit broke. I went inside to wash the filth from my hands. The battle for my soul and this tiny remnant of land remains for another day. So I just end acknowledging that I still have not submitted to what God is showing me. And I finished the work for my yard of the month to conform to what people think is beautiful. But the message God has sent me will remain in my mind. And perhaps another day I will heed the call and my soul will be saved. So that's what it's about. If you have any comments, please let me know. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.